Have you ever stopped to think about, well, just how much we learn,
Yeah.
often without even really noticing it?
Yeah, totally. A new recipe, some software thing.
Exactly. Our brains are just constantly soaking things up. And for millions, technology has completely reshaped how that learning happens.
Mhm.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into Duolingo. They're pretty much the undisputed global leader in mobile learning.
Right. The green owl, everyone knows.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to, cut through the headlines from their latest Q2 2025 earnings call and financial filings.
We've got the details, not just the summaries.
Exactly. We're going to uncover the most important, maybe unique insights into how this educational giant is growing, innovating, and, tackling challenges too, giving you a real shortcut to being properly well-informed about them.
Okay.
So the big news first. Record profitability, strong top-line revenue growth, and they even raised their full-year guidance.
Which is pretty positive news all around.
Definitely. But the real question is, how did they actually pull this off, especially in, this market?
Well, that's where the story gets really interesting. Duolingo isn't just, like, growing randomly. They seem to have a very surgical approach.
Okay.
So revenue surged, what was it, 41%? To $252.3 million for Q2 compared to last year. And subscription revenue alone, that jumped 46%.
Wow.
But, and this is key, they also hit record profitability. Net income soared 84% to $44.8 million.
84%. That's huge.
It really is. And this isn't just growth for growth's sake. It's efficient growth. They're being smart about it, leveraging things like user-generated content for curriculum stuff, managing marketing spend carefully.
So they've kind of found a way to scale without massive traditional R&D costs, turning user input into an asset.
Exactly. It's a really powerful combination, and honestly quite rare to see both that rapid growth and that jump in profitability together.
That's incredibly impressive. So what does this actually mean for the millions of people tapping away on the app every day? How do these big financial numbers translate into, like, user growth and maybe more importantly, engagement?
Right, the user numbers, that's where you really see the strategy playing out.
Yeah.
Daily active users, the DAUs,
Yeah.
hit 47.7 million. That's a 40% jump year over year. Think about this, like adding a whole medium-sized country to their daily learners.
40% daily growth year on year. That's staggering.
It is. And monthly active users, MAUs, reached 128.3 million, up 24%. Still very strong.
Okay.
But here's the number I find fascinating. The DAU to MAU ratio. It's kind of the pulse check for
How often people are really coming back.
The stickiness factor.
Exactly. And it climbed significantly. It's now 37.2%, up from 32.9% a year ago.
That really does
Precisely. To make learning feel almost like a non-negotiable part of your day, they turn casual use into deep, consistent engagement.
And that commitment, that daily habit, that's what fuels the money side.
That's the engine. It drives those subscriber numbers. Paid subscribers grew 37% to 10.9 million. And total bookings, which is everything.
Subscriptions, ads, the English test, in-app stuff.
Right. All of that, up 41% to $268 million. It all connects back to
Keeping users engaged daily.
That's a huge connection between engagement and revenue. But growth like this, it often brings, well, new complexities, right? Let's maybe peel back the...
Seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
It's because of those specific AI costs. They're tied directly to Duolingo Max. And Max, even with those higher costs, is their highest lifetime value offering, their LTV champion, so to speak.
Okay. So the users paying for Max are ultimately worth more to them over time, justifying the investment.
Exactly. It's a calculated bet on a higher value segment. Plus, they did also mention that overall AI costs are actually trending down.
Oh.
Lower API calls, cheaper token costs, basically. The price per
Unit of AI processing is falling, and they expect that trend to continue.
So that bodes well for future margins, even with more AI features.
It certainly seems that way. It's a strategic cost, not just a...
Remember losing hearts for mistakes. I know I've definitely felt that frustration getting kicked out mid-lesson.
Oh, yeah. Been there.
Well, now it's different. You start with more energy, you use 1 unit per exercise, right or wrong, doesn't matter.
Okay.
But here's the kicker, the clever part.
Hmm.
Get 5 answers correct in a row, and you actually get energy back.
Interesting. So it's more reward-focused.
Exactly. It feels like swapping a stick for a carrot. Focusing on rewarding progress, not just penalizing errors. What's the thinking behind such a, well, fundamental change? And are they seeing results?
It's a really fascinating case study in game mechanics, actually. How a seemingly small tweak can just ripple through user behavior and the bottom line.
Right.
Now, some users, particularly the, let's say, power users who are really good at navigating the free tier without mistakes.
The ones who maybe never bought Super Duolingo.
Potentially, yeah. Some of them have expressed frustration because, well, it does cap that potentially unlimited free usage they mastered.
I can see that.
But Duolingo's own metrics, they tell a really clear story. The change is already boosting revenue, bookings, daily users, and the median time people spend in the app.
So the overall data supports the move, even with some pushback.
For the vast majority, it seems to be a net positive for engagement and ultimately monetization.
Yeah.
It reminds me a bit of how gaming companies constantly fine-tune things. A tiny change can reshape everything, and they're rolling this out to all free users pretty soon, well before year-end.
Okay. And sticking with product features, Duolingo Max, that AI-powered subscription, keeps evolving too. Its killer feature is supposed to be those video call practice sessions with AI characters, like Lily.
Right, the conversational practice.
And we've seen steady growth there. Max subscribers went from 5% to 7%, now up to 8% of their total subscriber base. Sounds like a big differentiator, but are there challenges with something like that? Yeah. Especially for, total beginners.
Oh, absolutely. The video call feature is crucial for Max's value proposition, but you hit the nail on the head. For a beginner, trying to hold a conversation entirely in a new language, that's incredibly hard. It's intimidating.
Yeah, I'd agree so.
Right. So the dilemma is, how do you make it accessible and genuinely useful? They're trying things like experimenting with bilingual conversations to ease people in.
Okay, so not throwing you straight into the deep end.
Exactly. And they're tweaking engagement too, adding dynamic backgrounds for Lily, making it feel
Less static. Plus, they're focusing on a specific metric, the average number of words spoken per Max subscriber.
Interesting metric. Why that one?
Because it pushes the AI to ask
nods for local AI models.
Right. Regulations, always a factor. So looking ahead, what does this all mean for Duolingo's future? Because they're clearly not just sticking to languages anymore.
No, definitely broadening the horizon.
They're investing pretty heavily in new subjects: math, music, and chess. You might have heard chess launched less than a year ago.
Yeah, saw that.
And it's already bigger than math and music, at least on iPhones with the English interface.
That's fast growth for a new subject.
And then there was that big move last month, July 2025. They announced acquiring music learning services, limited the team behind an app called NextBeat.
Ah, the music acquisition. For about $34.5 million, wasn't it?
That's the number.
Yeah.
So this really widens their scope. What's the strategic play here? Why chess and music?
Well, the really compelling part, I think, is how these new subjects just fundamentally expand Duolingo's total addressable market, their TAM.
Right, the potential pool of users.
Exactly. They might not be huge moneymakers right now, and they're all bundled under the same subscription. But it's a long-term play. It's about attracting potentially hundreds of millions of new users who are interested in those subjects, not just languages, building a much broader learning platform.
So one app for learning lots of different things.
Yeah, and they're also working on making that multi-subject experience smoother, like making it easier to switch between Japanese and chess practice, for example.
Yeah.
Even offering rewards for learning multiple subjects.
Trying to get that cross-pollination going.
Precisely. Keep you in the ecosystem longer, learning more things.
Duolingo's also constantly tweaking, how they offer their services. Free, Supermax, family plans.
Always experimenting with the model.
And they're even testing direct payments on iPhones in the US now.
Yeah.
Bypassing Apple's standard 30% cut.
Ah, the direct payment test. Yeah, that's significant.
If that works, it could seriously boost their profit per subscription,
Right.
even if it adds maybe a tiny bit of friction for the user having to enter card details.
Yeah.
But for a company that leans so much on organic growth and, like, word of mouth, are there risks to pushing monetization harder like that? What are they thinking about?
That's a really sharp question. And it boils down to optimizing lifetime value LTV, how much revenue they expect from a user over their whole journey with the app.
Okay.
So, yeah, they might lose a few potential signups because of that extra step in the payment flow, a little friction.
Right.
But the calculation is that the significantly higher profit margin they get by avoiding the App Store fee makes it worth it in the long run. It's a calculated trade-off.
More profit per user outweighs potentially fewer users overall.
For that specific channel, potentially, yes. And think about it, as those AI compute costs keep falling, like we discussed,
Yeah.
it gives them even more room to experiment with max pricing, features, maybe roll out different tiers in different countries, always balancing the value for you, the user, with maximizing that LTV for the platform.
Okay, makes sense. Now, you might be wondering about user growth itself, especially after all those huge viral campaigns they've had.
Mm-hmm. Duo the Owl is everywhere online.
Right. DAU growth was 40% year over year in Q2. Still massive. But they did mention it moderated a little bit back in February.
Okay, a slight slowdown.
Yeah. And it turns out some comments about AI made by the CEO, maybe without enough context, caused a bit of social media backlash, particularly in the US among younger audiences.
Yeah.
They actually pulled back on their edgy posts for a while to let things cool down.
So the social media buzz had a slight hiccup.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
What does this tell us about their social strategy and, the challenges of being such a public brand?
Well, it's a great example of that really delicate balance, isn't it, between building the brand, going viral, and actually acquiring users.
Yeah.
So the social media team is described as being a bit skittish right now after that episode.
Understandable.
But the plan is to go back to more of that edgy, viral-style content. It just highlights how carefully you have to tread, especially with sensitive topics like AI and jobs. You need to understand your audience.
It's a risk they seem willing to take for the engagement, but they have to be mindful.
Exactly. And interestingly, Duolingo historically hasn't spent much on marketing. The U.S. costs are high. Organic growth was strong. But now they will start investing small amounts, copying a model that worked well for them in Mexico.
Yeah, a shift in U.S. marketing strategy.
A small one, yeah. But they also stress they're not worried about market saturation. They keep pointing to, 2 billion language learners globally.
Plus all the people interested in math, music, chess.
Right. Hundreds of millions more potential users there. The pond is still very, very big.
Got it. And finally, just a quick but important note on the Duolingo English test.
Completely external global factors.
Right.
The core language learning app thrives by building those internal daily habits we talked about. But a segment like the DET, it's much more exposed to global trends, shifting immigration policies, economic downturns impacting who can afford to study abroad.
So it shows the value of having a diverse portfolio, but also the risks tied to those broader societal things.
Exactly. It's important context for their overall picture.
Okay, so let's quickly recap the main takeaways. Duolingo is showing continued, really strong financial performance,
Yep, efficient growth.
driven by smart product innovations like that energy system, which, you've probably experienced yourself,
Yep.
and the ongoing development of Duolingo Max's video call feature. Plus, they're boldly expanding beyond language into chess, music, broadening their whole mission.
Building that wider learning platform.
All of this reinforces their core goal, making world-class education universally available. And these developments directly impact your learning experience and really the whole landscape of EdTech.
It's constantly evolving.
Definitely. So, to leave you with a final provocative thought.
Yeah.
Given Duolingo's laser focus now on AI-driven personalization and this bold expansion into totally new areas like chess and music, what kind of entirely new learning experiences do you think might pop up on this platform in the next, say, 5 years?
Interesting question.
Could learning become so integrated into our daily lives, maybe through this app, that we barely even notice we're doing it, just
Yeah.
by opening it for a few minutes each day? What could that look like? Something to think about.